My name is Rachel Carter. I'm 36 years old, born and raised outside Bozeman, Montana. If you've ever lost someone who was your whole world, you know how strange silence feels. It doesn't scream. It just settles into every room like dust. The morning after my mother's funeral, I stood alone in our old horse barn, running my hand across the faded wooden stall where my first horse used to sleep. The smell of hay and leather brought back every memory I'd been trying not to think about. Then my stepfather walked in. "Enjoy it while you can," he said with a little grin. I frowned. "What are you talking about?" He tossed a stack of papers onto an old saddle. "The ranch is under contract, closing's next Friday." I honestly thought he was joking. "Our ranch?" He shrugged. "Mine now." I stared at him. My mom had built that ranch from nothing after Dad died when I was 12. Every fence post, every horse, every trail ride, every kid she taught, it was her life. "You can't sell it." "Oh, sweetheart," he laughed. "I already did." He walked away before I could even answer. That night, I barely slept. Friends kept texting, asking if I was okay. Truth was, I wasn't. The ranch wasn't just land. It was home. The next morning, I drove into town and met with my mom's longtime attorney, Susan Keller. She looked unusually calm. "Rachel," she said, "before we panic, I need you to answer one question." "Okay. Did your mother ever tell you about the stewardship agreement?" I shook my head. "No." Susan smiled. I figured. She pulled out a thick blue folder I'd never seen before. Inside were documents my mom had signed nearly 6 years earlier. She hadn't actually left the ranch to anyone. She'd transferred it into a permanent agricultural conservation trust. The ranch could never be sold to developers. Ever. Whoever managed it had to continue horse therapy programs for veterans, foster kids, and children with disabilities. Then Susan slid one final paper across the desk. "Manager and lifetime director, Rachel Carter." I actually laughed through my tears. "Mom, you planned all this?" Susan smiled. "Your mother knew people better than they knew themselves. Apparently, she had suspected my stepfather would cash out the property if anything happened to her. So she quietly made sure he couldn't? 3 days later, he showed up at the title office expecting a huge payday. Instead, the buyer walked out. The title company explained the conservation trust. There was nothing to sell. Legally. My stepfather completely lost it. He yelled. Threatened lawsuits. Blamed lawyers. Blamed me. Blamed everybody except himself. Within a month, he packed his truck and left Montana. I haven't heard from him since. But that's not really the end of the story. Because something amazing happened afterward. Word spread around town that the ranch was staying open. Volunteers started showing up. Retired ranchers offered free labor. Veterans donated equipment. Local businesses sponsored riding lessons. By the end of summer, we doubled the number of therapy sessions we offered every week. One afternoon, a little boy with autism hugged one of our oldest horses for nearly 20 minutes without saying a word. His mother stood beside me crying. She whispered, "This is the first place where he feels safe." Right then, I understood exactly why Mom had protected this place. It was never about the property. It was about hope. Years have passed now. Every sunrise still paints the mountains gold. Kids still laugh in the riding arena. Veterans still find peace on horseback. And every time I unlock the barn before sunrise, I look toward the old farmhouse. Sometimes I can almost picture Mom standing on the porch with a coffee mug in her hand, smiling like she always knew everything would work out. Maybe she did. People ask if I ever got revenge on my stepfather. Honestly, life handled that part. I got something better. I kept the promise my mother never had to ask me to make. Some legacies are measured in money. Others are measured by the lives that keep changing long after the person who started it is gone. My mom left me the second kind, and that's worth more than anything anyone could ever sell.